Hopefully I'm in frame. How is it going, you mother flockers? Welcome back to another episode of Between Two Cars, and today I have challenged myself to think of the best cars for the value in different price ranges. So we're going to talk about less than 10,000, less than 20, less than 30, less than 40, all the way up to less than 50. And if you guys like this and you want me to go all the way up to 100 or something, then we can do that as well. But today we're talking about best JDM car and best domestic car. I am not a German or European car enthusiast, so I'm not going to tell you guys stuff because I read it online or something. This is my list of personally what I would probably buy if I was looking for a car in this price range. Now, I did really try to not have multiple of the same cars on the list because if I was a hardcore Mustang fanatic, I could say, oh, a New Edge, 3-valve, and then a Coyote, and then a Gen 2 Coyote, and then like you can do that, but I didn't do that. So there might be a couple repeat appearances, but that's just because they are genuinely the best probably car for the money, and I'll explain why I think that as well. Also, I'm not saying these are the fastest cars. I just think these would be the most fun and the most car enthusiast cars that you can get your most money out of. So we're going to be talking about that right now. Anyways, for less than $10,000, so these are like entry-level cars. I don't know if you guys will agree with the American one. So let's start with the Japanese car. Acura RSX. I think the Acura RSX is probably the best car you can buy for Japanese cars for less than $10,000. I genuinely think it has a little bit of everything. 1, aftermarket support is great. 2, I think it looks pretty decent for the price. 3, you can make them pretty damn fast. And 4, you can go multiple different routes. If you want to build a track car, if you want to build a drag car, if you want to build a show car, you can kind of do it all. It's not a Honda Civic, it's not an Integra, and I think for the price it's good. And it's modern enough to where you don't feel like you're rolling around in a shitbox all the time. It's not going to feel like a 2025, but it's not going to feel like a 1992 either. So I genuinely think for less than $10,000, you can get a pretty good Acura RSX for the price. That was the easy one to think of. The hardest one was thinking of an American car for less than $10,000 that I think is worth it. I was initially going to go towards like the 4th gen Camaro, but it's not a very popular car. In my opinion, it's not a very good looking car, so I didn't want to say that. I was then going to lean towards like a New Edge, but once again, not a super popular Mustang generation. A lot of people don't like how it looks. It's recently gained a lot of popularity because people are starting to make them look like Silvias kind of, and make them look like a JDM car, but it's not a super popular car. So I looked up on OfferUp if I could find this car for less than $10,000, and I found one, and it is the car. The C5 Corvette. Now, yes, it's not going to be the easiest thing to find, but if you find a C5 Corvette for less than $10,000, it is the best American car you can buy for the money, as sports car-wise. They have their issues like any Corvette. A lot of people say Corvettes are unreliable and stuff, and there's maintenance that you got to do, water pump, stuff like that. But I genuinely think for the money, the C5 Corvette is probably the best car for less than $10,000 that you can buy. I can't even think of another car that really comes close. Less than $10,000 is kind of hard to find. Like, there's a small pool of cars. I mean, no Mustang for less than $10,000 is better. Pontiac GTO or G8, I don't think you're finding those for less than $10,000. Maybe, but even then, not a super popular car, not a great looker either. C5 Corvette, you can go straight line, you can go back roads, you can go track, you can go show car, you can buy jean shorts and just leave it stock. It's a good car, although not super common for the price. So that was kind of like the hardest one in my opinion. Moving on to less than $20,000, we have, one second guys, sorry, just replying to my girlfriend. We have, in my opinion, the best Japanese car for less than $20,000. This one was also kind of hard because there's a much larger pool of Japanese cars once you cross over that $10,000 mark. I was almost thinking 350Z, but 350Zs just aren't the most reliable. It's a Nissan. It's So I actually went with the Honda S2000. A controversial take probably, but these cars, one, hold their value really, really well. So you're not going to probably lose money on it unless you wreck the car. But two, it is a very, very fun car. It is a cooler Miata. It is a better Miata. And you can also do a lot of cool engine swaps in them if you're into that. So in my opinion, I think for around, 15, 18, maybe close to $20,000, if you find a really clean one, I think a Honda S2000 is a good option. From factory, they're already pretty fun. They're already pretty cool cars, but you can do a lot with them. You see them at tracks. I saw one on TikTok about 20 minutes ago drifting. The S2000, although not the super cool, sports car, it's not the best thing ever. It is a pretty cool car for that price range. And again, I couldn't think of much more. Yeah, you could probably find a clean 240, but buying another person's project car isn't the greatest either. So I wouldn't recommend going out there and looking for this like unicorn of a super clean 240. So again, it's kind of hard to find for something less than $20,000. I'm just looking at stuff that you can buy off the shelf stock, and I think Honda S2000, great car. Might be a couple other options as well in that price range. I'm trying to think, but I think that one might be the coolest. So yeah, moving on to the American side of it. Personally, if I had $15,000, $18,000, $19,000, what would I buy? Well, you could buy a cleaner C5 Corvette for one, but probably an S197 Mustang with a Gen 1 Coyote. So we're talking 2013, 2014. I would stick around those years. S197, you could probably easily find them for that price range now, and they last forever. There was an S197 for sale on Facebook Marketplace with 400,000 miles. The Coyote is such a good motor that even if you run over multiple people, it'll probably keep running. So the S197, I think, is great in that price range. It's not a Corvette, so it's a little different. And I just don't think there's much else in that price range. Like, I don't know how much 5th gen Camaros go for, but I don't think a 5th gen Camaro, even if they were in that price range, I don't think that it would be able to compete with the Gen 1 Coyote. The Gen 1 Coyote was a better engine, faster car, better looking, smaller, more nimble. It's not a super heavy car. And you could do a lot with them. A lot of people road course those cars. You could drift them. You could build a drag car. The S197 is going to become the new Fox body Mustang of the car scene, of the drag racing scene, and it's just going to be one of the more popular cars in the near future. So I think prices on them are going to do pretty well as well. But yeah, that is my pick for the less than $20,000 price range. So now we're going less than $30,000 price range. What can you get for a Japanese car for less than $30,000? There's a few options there. There's a few pretty good ones, but I genuinely think the best option that I would go for, if I could find one in this price range, would be the Evo 10. You might be able to find other Evo generations as well, but I believe the Evo 10 among Evo enthusiasts is known as the most reliable Evo, and you can make good power out of them. The Evo 10 is a good-looking car. It holds its value, once again, pretty well. And if you find a clean one, and you find one for the right price, I think around that price range, that would be the go-to car. There's a few other cars I was thinking, Subaru WRX STI, but Subarus just I wouldn't really recommend buying in general. I owned one, and I did not like it. I liked the car. I didn't like the issues that came with it. I mean, it was a stock Subaru 2018 STI with lowish miles, and the power steering was just like the biggest issue ever. I have no idea how CarMax couldn't fix it, but yeah, I left that car stock because I knew it was going to have issues, so I didn't touch it. But genuinely, if we could have found an Evo 10 for that price range, we would have bought an Evo 10, and we would probably still have it to this day because I like that car. It is a good car. Interior is a bit cheap. I mean, it is a Mitsubishi after all, but it's a good-looking car. It's a good-sounding car. It's a fun car. One of my buddies, he has an Evo 10, and it is super fun. He always, when we go out filming and driving and shit, and he tags along, he just flies by us, shooting big flames. it's a super cool car. So an Evo 10, if you can find one, I think that is the best car for that price range personally. There's a lot of more options, once again, in that $20,000 range. I don't know if you can find FK8 Type Rs, but that would be another good option, I think. I do like the FK8 a little bit more now. I don't know why, but it's grown on me. I still think it's pretty ugly, but it's definitely grown on me. I think, I'm trying to think if I'm having a brain fart. You guys can comment down below. But I think for the price range, most fun. A lot of different options. Once again, you can go with it. Track, drag race, show car. Like, it checks a lot of the boxes. So, and again, it's going to hold its value pretty well. But what, for less than $30,000, should you buy if you're into American cars? Honestly, it's pretty hard to pass up on this car. I think the S550 Mustang GT is probably the best car you can get, American-wise, for less than $30,000. I mean, Gen 2 or Gen 3 Coyote, it makes crazy power from factory. You throw a blower on it, it makes even more power. They're super reliable. They're good-looking cars. It's hard to beat it. Once again, you can track the car, you can road race the car, you can canyon run the car, you can rally the car, you can drag race the car, you can make it into a show car. You can do so much with the car. It is probably the best thing you can buy for less than $30,000. Now, one could argue probably a base C6 Corvette, but I don't think a base C6 Corvette would be as fun of a car. It would be, no, it would probably be more fun. I don't know. It's hard to say. The problem is the Coyote is so good that you buy a base LS2 or LS3 Corvette, and it's just hard to stack up. I mean, one, I think the S550 looks better than a narrow body Corvette, but two, I think the Coyote is just more capable than an LS2 or an LS3. And so it's hard to put it in the same category. Now, if we're talking Grand Sport, which I don't think you can find a manual Grand Sport in the less than $30,000 range, then yes, sure. But we're not talking Grand Sport. We're not talking Z06. We're talking narrow body Corvette. Again, I don't think there's anything else. I don't think there's another American car. Maybe an older CTSV, maybe, but it's pretty hard to find something in that price range. So that's what I had in there for less than $30,000. I also wrote down Camaro Z01 5th Gen. I don't think you can find that for less than 30. I think I was mistaken. You can find those for less than 40. But I don't think you can find those for less than 30. Maybe you can't even find those for less than 40. I don't know. But that's somewhere on the list too. I think a 5th gen Camaro is kind of a slept-on car. It's a cool car. But anyways, S550 Mustang GT, it's pretty hard to beat. 6R80, 10R80, even if you do the MT82 and you build it or you swap it out for a T56, it is just so welcoming for car enthusiasts. It's a great car. So moving on. Less than $40,000. This one, once again, might be a little bit hard of a find. It might be up there closer to $40,000. But Mazda RX-7, I think that is probably the best thing you can buy for that price range. I think for less than 40, I think you can find one. I think you can find one. It might not be all built up and cool and super nice, but you can probably find one. I don't know of any other cars in that price range less than 40. Again, maybe a Type R, maybe a newer Subaru, maybe. But now I think for cool factor, for wow factor, for all of that, I think the Mazda RX-7 is probably that car. And you could find them. They're just not the easiest thing to come across. So a little bit of a harder thing. I might have got my numbers a little fudged up here. I might have thought I meant greater than $40,000. But they're around that $40,000 mark. So I'm sure you can find one, maybe talk an owner down and maybe get it for about $38,000, maybe $39,000, depending on condition. You don't want to buy something super beat. So that's that. My doggy, he's agreeing with me. You probably heard him barking, but yeah, he's agreeing with us. So Mazda RX-7, cool. I like the FC a little bit more than the FD. The FD is still cool, but I just don't like the styling of it too much. It's a little too curvy, a little bit too round. Kind of looks like a Corvette. And yeah, I know you could say, you know, the Corvette obviously came after or whatever. But point is, I don't like my Mazdas looking like my Corvettes. So it is what it is. Also, for the Americans, for the people that want an American car, again, I might have got my numbers fudged here a little bit. Maybe it would be closer to a Grand Sport, but I put C6 Corvette Z06. You could maybe find a Z06, depending on what state you're in, for less than 40. I know a buddy of mine is selling one for in the 20s. It does have some damage on it. You know, it's been in a little bit of an accident, but you can find them. But I do think for the money, if you have about $40,000, I do think a Corvette Z06, a C6 Z06, is probably the best thing you're gonna find. I mean, it's hard to beat that. You can maybe find a CTSV once again, or like an older GT500, but I don't think the GT500 or the CTSV is going to give you that raw adrenaline, the raw feel, the acceleration, the braking, the looks, the sound of the LS7 in the Z06. I don't see it happening personally. I do not see it happening. So that's what I would probably buy if I had that much money and I was looking for it. Once again, there's a few other good options. There's definitely good options, but we're just saying if I had to choose one, that's what I would choose. I'm not saying every other car in that category is invalid. There's a lot of good options. There's a reason why they're worth that much money. But if I had that much money, I would probably hunt down a C6 Z06. I mean, I was close to getting a C6 Z06 compared to the ZR1. The ZR1 I just thought would be a better thing for the channel, but I really wanted an LS7. I really wanted an NA car that I can just beat on non-stop and just have that NA just power band. I'm not complaining that I got a ZR1, and I do love the ZR1, but I was pretty damn close to getting a Z06. Like, I was really considering it. So yeah, it's a good car. You know, I would have saved myself too probably a good 40 or 50 grand. So yeah, Z06. Also have CTSV written down. Another decent option. You can find them in a 4-door and stuff. Wagon and coupe. You can do all of that stuff. So CTSV is another great option as well. Moving on to the last category, less than $50,000. What can you find? And now this might not be modified, this might not be built, or this might not even be turbo. But genuinely, if you find a Mark IV Supra for less than $40,000 or less than $50,000, that's not bad. You could probably find modified NA turbo or a maybe a GTE that's stock, maybe with higher mileage. It just really depends. You can definitely find right-hand drive ones for that price easily. I bought mine years ago, granted, for $24,000, and it was an NA manual. So I don't think less than 50 is too far off for buying one already in the States, whether it's right-hand drive or left-hand drive. I'm sure you can find a Mark IV Supra for less than $50,000 pretty easily. My buddy, Stitchcraft Interiors, the guy that does all my interior work, he just bought one. Him and his son just bought one from Nevada for $26,000. Once again, it's an NA. I think his is even an automatic. But again, the quality and the coolness and what you get, I do think it is a good purchase. And you can find them all different price ranges, but you can probably find a pretty cool one for less than 50 in that $40,000 to $50,000 mark. I don't think there's much else that would be able to come close to that. I know the R32 isn't on this list, and that's because I do think the Supra is a better option than an R32. And also R32 prices are just, or our Skyline prices in general, are kind of all over the place. In my opinion, they fluctuate so much where a Supra is pretty straightforward. Like, you kind of know what you're getting for the price, and you kind of, when you look at a Supra, you can tell how much it's worth for the most part, unless it's like a crazy color scheme. Supras and Corvettes are kind of the same in the sense of there's certain models and certain colors and certain packages that are worth more. But for the most part, I think for the price, you can find a good Mark IV Supra for less than $50,000. If I had around that, that's probably what I would look for, genuinely, you know. And again, you could probably find one for 30, but for less than 50, you can probably find a pretty good one. So that's what I would go for. And then last but not least, moving on to the last one, less than $50,000. Once again, might have got my numbers fudged on this one. Don't hit me. But Camaro Z01 6th gen, which I don't know if you're going to find one for less than 50, or a C7 Corvette, maybe a Z06. That's a bit of a stretch. You can probably find a higher mileage one, but the LT4s comes in both of those cars. It's a great engine. Corvette looks great. Camaro looks great. I argue that the Camaro Z01, the 6th gen, looks better than the C7 Corvette. Yeah, both of those are great options. You could find also S197 GT500s, but those also fluctuate in price a little bit. They're a little bit harder to get a good read on because you have owners of cars that drive their shit, and then you have owners of cars that don't drive their shit. And that's what pisses me off, because you could be looking at one car and it looks exactly the same as the other car, but the difference in 20,000 miles means $20,000, and it's fucking annoying. So Camaro Z01, if you can find one for less than 50, that's a great price. Same with the C7 Z06, if you can find one for less than 50, that's a great price. Maybe I'm just thinking California tax, because in California everything is fucking expensive, but maybe in other states those are actually doable vehicles. But yeah, that's my list. That is my list of every car, not every car, the best cars for every price range, up to $50,000. So it's my list. It's an opinion. I probably am wrong somewhere along the way, and that's okay. You might have a better list than me. Once again, that's okay. But if you're looking for a car to buy and you wanted to look at something that maybe you didn't think about and maybe it was on this list, I'm talking from experience. I've had experience with pretty much every car on this list. The only one I don't think I've had experience with is the S2000. But I mean, I've been in Z06s, Z01s, Mark IVs, CTSVs, Z06s, RX-7s. Yeah, I knew a guy with an RX-7. I knew two guys with RX-7s. Evo 10s, Mustang GTs, S197. Yeah, literally everything on the list I've either driven or been in. So yeah, thumbs up for that. This isn't a bullshit list. This is my own experience. So let me know what you guys think. Did I miss any? Was I wrong? Comment your thoughts down below. Maybe we'll do another list for $50,000 to $100,000, and maybe we'll do one for European cars too. I don't know. I'll have to do some research on that. Anyways, comment, subscribe, and until next video, peace.